my name is Joshua McQuarrie, and I am a student at Texas A&M University Commerce in the Organizational Leadership Program. If you could see outside right now, you probably could guess this, but I'm not exactly from Texas, although I appreciate it a lot. I'm from South Jersey. Rather than open fields and starry nights, I'm more accustomed to the beach and the boardwalk. But right now in the winter months, we tend to get a lot of snow, and right now is no exception. My passions include music, sports, and making videos that I post on YouTube, but I'm not about to plug my own channel. Sour Sketties on YouTube. In fact, video making is kind of where my entrepreneurial spirit kind of sprouted from. So I was actually pretty excited to hear that my Capstone 2 project was going to be a video. Throughout this video, there's 4 points I want to make. The first point I want to make is who I was as a leader before this program. I actually did a couple different things from a leadership perspective as a high schooler before I entered Texas A&M. For example, I was the captain of my high school basketball team, and actually while I was in high school, I coached my private school's JV team, which was really cool, getting to work with a bunch of younger players and helping them improve their game, which I enjoyed a lot. I also helped organize multiple youth events with that same school. Another thing which came up a lot was leading with a team, and I was part of the leadership of a band that I'm currently in too, which is a really good experience. It's not just leading by yourself, it's like a democracy with multiple different people. Again, the YouTube channel I have, I'm the clear-cut leader of, in the way that I record the videos and I edit them, and I also do promotion and stuff like that. So as a leader, I communicated a lot. With the basketball team, I had multiple other guys as players on the team that I had to, make our vision for what we were going to do to win very clear cut. It was a lot of talking. So, and even with the younger team, the JV team, I had to communicate with a lot of parents of kids, and even with the band in a democratic setting, your voice needs to be heard, and you also need to listen. But it was all very communicative. So thinking back at my time in high school as a leader, I think I did a lot of things pretty well, but after taking this entire course, I can see where there were many areas for improvement, and I now believe that I definitely carry those. The second question I want to now cover is what I actually learned while completing my coursework. My first course in this degree, Issues in Organizational Leadership, required me to complete a personal leadership plan. This assignment was almost like a devotional for me, looking at how I personally lead. This assignment really opened up to me what my characteristics, strengths and weaknesses, what all of this was like to me as a leader. I remember sitting down and spending a lot of time on this because it was really opening my mind to how I did lead, because I did so much of it in high school, so it was so cool really reflecting on all that, because I never really had a chance to those 4 years. Next up for me in my degree was Data-Driven Decision Making Parts 1 and 2. The primary learning objective in this course was to make decisions using data. This opened up a whole new world to me in my head, in that, yes, while you're leading, you always want to lead and make decisions using the obvious, information in front of you, but sometimes it goes so much deeper than that, and you need to remember that leading almost breaks down into a math. Among multiple other things, Data-Driven Decision Making Part 2 had me create a data analysis report. In this report, I actually got a chance to look at my own YouTube channel's analytics that YouTube provides to all content creators. While I had seen the YouTube analytics before, this project really made me dive into those and see what demographics really enjoyed our videos. Some of the statistics were really eye-opening, like the fact that a lot of our viewers actually come from really random European countries, which is kind of interesting. The goal of the project was to use the analytics to increase our viewership. In the Behavior, Ethics, and Leadership courses, we examined ethical behavior in the workplace. As a matter of fact, this theme of ethical behavior flooded into a lot of the courses throughout my program. For obvious reasons, ethical behavior is of incredible importance to any effective leader. The first part of this course required me to look at the case of the Ford Pinto. While every case that goes to court normally isn't black and white, this case was especially not so. While analyzing the case data, I came to the conclusion that this was a watershed moment in automobile safety cases. It was an excellent assignment because it became so clear to me that, especially in the automobile industry, companies should always be thinking of the customer first. Ford made a huge mistake in not and almost ended up paying a huge price that put them out of business in the end. While the events of the case were truly saddening, it stands as an excellent reminder of how to properly handle a company ethically in today's capitalistic society. For the second part of this course, I had to do a study on Nissan and the resurgence brought by the hands of Carlos Ghosn. This assignment really opened my eyes to how amazing of a leader Ghosn was, and actually afterwards I was super interested in not just this case, but his entire leadership career. Also, I'm not entirely sure I'm pronouncing Carlos Ghosn right. I think it's that. That's how I imagined it every time I wrote it down. His out-of-the-box style of leadership to the Japanese was truly revolutionary and saved Nissan from the brink of extinction. Carlos Ghosn's case with Nissan was an excellent gateway into our next course, Leadership Theory. This course really opened my eyes to the many theories of leadership that every effective leader should carry. It taught me that leaders plan, organize, and control the workplace environment. For the project for Leadership Theory 1, I switched gears to a corporation that I spend a lot of time at, and anybody in the Philadelphia area does, Wawa. If you're from Texas watching this, there's a very realistic shot you don't know what a Wawa is, but if you're ever in the New Jersey area, I strongly recommend it. I completed a SWOT analysis on Wawa, so I analyzed strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats facing the company. For Leadership Theory 2, I completed a process improvement plan for how Wawa should deal with what I believe is its biggest problem, very small parking lots. Seriously, if you've ever seen a Wawa parking lot, you understand how bad it is. You can literally Google it, worst Wawa parking lots, and there are people just raging about how horrible they are. In our next course, Leading Change, we learned about the benefits and also the obstacles of initiating change in an organization. In our change management plan, we analyzed every single person who would be involved in fixing the problem that we had mentioned of the parking lots for Wawa. This included all the steps that had to be taken with those individuals, such as training and scheduling, and wrapped it all up into one project that could be easily viewed and seen by every member of the organization. This leads us to Capstone 1. Now, these projects might have been my favorite because I got to interview two leaders who I really highly respect, and also I did a strategic case analysis. For the first part of this, I interviewed my manager of the CVS I work at, Candy Hoff, who I really respect as a leader, and Pat Trangitella, a leader at a Wells Fargo bank near me. Both ladies really opened my eyes to what it's truly like to run an organization. Candy on a more local level, as she was able to put her fingerprints on the way the CVS Corporation is run on a small scale at our Sea Isle City, New Jersey location, and Pat on a more financial side, where she was calling the shots in a career that she completely could sculpt for herself. I got to compare and contrast both their answers to multiple questions given to me, and this was really enjoyable to me. On top of that, I also had to find things that they were saying that were theories and practices that I had learned throughout this course, which was really eye-opening. For the strategic case analysis, I decided to focus entirely on Candy Hoff at CVS. I took the leadership practices of the complete higher-ups in the company, such as the CEO and multiple other senior advisors there, and I decided to kind of compare and contrast what they did on a corporate scale with what Candy was doing on a more local scale. Turns out that Candy actually shares a lot of the same principles that they do up there, but Candy definitely does the democratic style of leadership to a better degree than I would say somebody up there on the top of the ladder would. Within the strategic case analysis was another SWOT analysis of CVS. I explored strengths and weaknesses of the company, and I also really focused on opportunities they could have by expanding their stores westward. All in all, Capstone 1 was probably my favorite project to work on, although it might have been the most time-consuming. And then finally, to wrap that all up, Capstone 2, this video you're watching right now. To be honest, I really have enjoyed this project so far, mainly because I'm a video maker myself, but it's kind of cool to maybe have some of the professors over there at Texas A&M Commerce, see my face and see what I'm like. You can only express so much about yourself through words on a piece of paper. So after covering all that, my third point is going to be describing how I see myself now as a leader after learning all this throughout the course. I realized before that I had almost instinctive leadership qualities before that I exclusively pulled from when I was in high school. But now, after completing this program, I thoroughly believe that I have learned leadership skills that I will always for the rest of my life now pull from. For my leadership style now, I'll be applying way more of a focus on data driving what decisions I make, what ethical behavior I should be pursuing so that my subordinates follow that as well, and what kind of leadership style is appropriate for the work environment I'm in. So the fourth point I'm going to make now is, where do I go from here? Obviously, most college students don't have it cut and dry what they're going to do right out of the university, but I have a couple ideas. First on my docket is completing my resume so I can apply for a job, and I'm hearing a lot of great testimonials about this degree that I pursued that it could pretty much be useful for anything. I have thought about pursuing music in the past as it's one of my greatest passions, but I know the first step to that is probably maybe interning somewhere, and there's a couple local music production studios that I might just do that with. Even by being an intern with one of these production companies, there's countless ways that I can really let my leadership skills learned in this program shine. And another question is, how do I continue my leadership journey from here? Really, the most important thing I feel like I can remember is really to just keep sticking myself out there. Obviously, this program didn't just teach me one way to lead people, it taught me multiple. And by putting myself in different environments, that's the way I'm going to really be able to stretch myself to find out how I lead the best. I mean, I could stick with one thing for a couple of years and then maybe get a new job and realize that I really thrive in that leadership role. All in all, I want to say thank you to Texas A&M University Commerce for letting me do this degree online. It has been such an enjoyable experience. Everybody over there was super helpful. I guess it's that Southern hospitality that you always hear people talk about. Really, in the end, as a human being, there's not much more of a proud feeling that you can get than being part of a family. And I really feel that way with Texas A&M University Commerce. So one more time, thank you. And since it's fitting, I want to wish you all a happy new year. Thank you so much.